Joining us now is former State Attorney General and King 5 political analyst Rob McKenna. Thanks for being with us tonight.
My pleasure, Joyce. Thank you.
Okay, does the president really have the power to hold one bill hostage in order to force action on another?
Well, he has the power to try that. Whether it actually works or not is a different question. But, he's not required to sign any bill. And so he's delaying this bipartisan housing affordability bill to put pressure on Senate Republicans, including all those Republicans who voted for the bill, which was very popular. And of course, he's putting this pressure on them because he's unhappy that they haven't been able to muster the votes required to pass his number one legislative priority, which is the Save America Act, as he calls it, which would impose documentation requirements for voter registration.
We're going to talk about the details on that in just a moment. But first, how much trouble could all of this cause for Republicans?
They're going to be blamed if the Housing Affordability Act isn't signed into law. So that does put pressure on them. On the other hand, the president wants to be able to take credit for this bill also. Affordability is the number one issue on voters' minds. Every elected official I know of is concerned about affordability, and I'm betting he'll end up signing it. But under other circumstances, he probably would have rushed to sign it as soon as it came to his desk. Here, he thinks he's got some leverage, but I'm skeptical that he'll end up refusing to sign the bill.
Well, let's play devil's advocate. Politically, what happens if Republicans lose the housing bill that they could have used, to your point, to show that voters that they are tackling affordability?
Well, it'll hurt them with voters, and therefore will be used against them by Democrats and campaigns who will attack them for being in a party that blocked a bill that was needed for housing affordability. I mean, it's a very bad deal for them politically. But that, of course, is what gives the president leverage, right? It's the source of the pressure that he's able to put on them because they really want this affordability bill. He should want it too, and I think he probably actually does. But he has a core problem here. His Save America Act, it not only doesn't have the votes to reach a majority because some Republican senators are not voting for it, it doesn't come close to having the votes to, meet this, to break or avoid this, a filibuster. You need 60 votes for that, for cloture. And, as a result, he's saying to the Senate Majority Leader, well, let's just end the filibuster. And that is a hill that's far too steep for any Senate Majority Leader to climb.
And then, to your point on the stricter voter ID and citizenship rules, what would that mean for people trying to vote?
Well, it has to do with the requirement that doesn't exist right now, which is that you'd have to actually provide one of several specific forms of identification to prove your citizenship. Right now, you just sign a statement stating that I am a U.S. citizen under penalty of perjury. I'm making this statement. But this SAVE Act would require either a valid U.S. passport or a passport card, a certified birth certificate. There are a couple other forms of documentation you could use. And in my reading of the bill, if you change your voter registration, let's say you get married, your last name changes, you have to re-register, you'd have to provide that document again, not just sign a statement under the penalty of perjury. So it does raise the bar significantly for voters to be able to register. And, I think a lot of voters are going to be unhappy with that. I think most voters support the idea that when you go to vote, if you're voting in person, providing a form of ID should be required. Most people don't think that's controversial, but making it a lot harder to register to vote or to change your registration does raise real concerns. And
then finally, how do you think this is all going to play out?
I think that President Trump will end up signing the housing affordability bill. I don't think he'll veto it. I don't think his Save America Act is going to pass because he's just not close enough to having the votes in the Senate that he needs. So I think this is going to be a loss for him.
Rob McKenna, we always appreciate your time. Thanks so much for being with us.
Pleasure. Thank you.